Hey, everybody, welcome to 17 Things You Need to Do this summer before college. This is for students, this is for parents, this is for families. I'm Harlan Cohen, and I'm so grateful to be here with you today, tonight, whenever you're watching this. Now, there's going to be another 17 things. It's going to be before you go to college, it's going to be right before you go to college. But right now, this is the summer before college, and I mix them up. So if you're thinking, later on in August, I don't need this. Oh no, this will be a great refresher because I really think the things I'm sharing are going to change the way you look at your college experience. I see some second attendees, some first times. There's always something new, there's always something to gain. This particular event is in partnership with College Ave Student Loans. I've worked with College Ave going on 7 or 8 years, and they are wonderful partners. And I just can't say enough good things about them. They've been so supportive in helping me to provide education, and you're always welcome to check out their resources. This is kind of cool. College Ave has a $5,000 college sweepstakes, and I shared this before. You can scan this QR code. Hopefully it works. Let me see. I do this thing where I like make my QR codes, and then sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. This works. This QR code works. Wonderful. So we got some first time, second time people, but they give away $5,000 and you don't have to do anything other than enter for a chance to win. So I highly encourage you to do that. Now, please stick around. I'm giving away five $100 gift cards. This is courtesy of College Ave, so they're giving this away. I shouldn't say I'm a real big shot. I'm giving this away from them. I also have selected 7 winners, 7 copies of The Naked Roommate. This is my book, The Naked Roommate. So 7 people won. I've got all the numbers and names right here. Number 759, number 1526. Oh, it's so exciting. And then 2 people have won memberships to Best First Year in College. And I just want to mention this for just a moment because this is, I would say, the most valuable thing that I do. And if you are a student or a parent who wants me to be in your corner, a checkpoint every couple weeks, so if someone wants that QR code here, I'll go back to the QR code. You can scan this. This is also, you'll find this in a lot of places, okay? But it's important, okay? There you go. Now, Best First Year, you'll hear me mention this. There's nothing like this. If you are a parent or a student and you want me to be in your corner every 2 weeks, if you like what I'm sharing here today, if you find this helpful, this is the best thing I do. This has changed lives. It helps people to anticipate what's coming their way. So I highly encourage you to check this out. I have this thing, I'm very good at this. I have a coaching session that I just recorded. It's on the Gallup Purdue Index, the 6 big experiences. There are 6 big experiences that will help you to have the most successful college experience. And a couple of those are about getting in touch with your professors, having meaningful relationships. Another one is extracurriculars. Another one is having a long-term experience, a group project. Someone wants to know for international students, this is the best for international students because I walk you through all the different challenges, changes, help you to find your people and places. You'll see once we get to the end of our 17 things, you'll have a better understanding of how each of these things we can talk about. And if you have a question or something you need addressed, I can help you with that. Over the summer, just want to show you this is what's happening over the summer, okay? And I'll be checking in with you. You don't have to do this, but this is the most helpful thing. I'm going to help you to navigate 5 transitions: the financial transition, the social transition, the emotional transition, the physical transition, and the academic transition. Next week, we're talking about stuff that you should bring to college, which is pretty cool. So I encourage you to check that out. And there's always Q&A. I've got a special family and friends discount special. And the last thing I'll mention on this right now is if you want help making friends, managing your mental health, time, homesickness, loneliness, anxiety, academic support, paying for college, navigating more. This is helpful, especially neurodivergent students. I've got ADHD, international students, students who struggle with change, and parents. This is going to give you a baseline of what's normal. So anyway, I love this. I have to share this with you because I don't do a great job talking about it. And I have to tell you again, it's the best thing I do. And if you buy a Best First Year during our time today, then I will give you a book. I'll send you a book too. So if you do that by the end of this, I'll get you a book. All right. So here's what I want to know. I want to know what you're most excited about. So if you can let me know what you're most excited about in the chat, I would love that. And while you're letting me know what you're most excited about, I'm going to answer a question. How do I balance school with work? Good schedule for classes for that. The best way to balance school with work is to go to class. Like that's the most important thing. You go to class and then you find someone who's taken that class, a junior, senior, somebody who can give you a sense of just what it takes to do well in that class. And then I would get help the first time you struggle. And I would focus first on going to class and getting your work done. And then I would take advantage of all resources. A lot of you are very stubborn when it comes to getting help, and I would really encourage you to start off thinking not if I'm going to get help, but how I'm going to get help. And for parents, really encouraging your student to think about the places where they can get that help. Making new friends, exploring new ideas, meeting new people, new experiences, new start, independence, exploring unstructured academics. So many great things. I love what everybody's sharing here. Getting started on his dream job for your student. So what are you excited about? And it's really important to be excited. And it's important for you to have things that you're really focused on, things that are really important to you, because that's going to give you that direction. I was at the University of Illinois on Friday and I met these students. I love this picture. This is the great, I just think this is the funniest, this is so great. And I have a video coming up with them. And they're wonderful. The student over here, where is she? She's an international student. She's from India. I was talking just about how forcing herself to do all of these new things was really scary and really exciting. Let's see, meeting new people, daughter pursuing her dreams, so many exciting things. And it starts with that dream. It starts with the dream. Now, some of you are going to hit some bumps, and I want you to understand there are so many people who've been there and done it. I went to the University of Virginia the other day, and I walked around for 2 hours talking to students about all different topics. And I really hope you'll check this out because the students talk about loneliness and they talk about academics and they talk about finding roommates and they talk about making friends. And there's nothing, I haven't seen anything like this. I just ran for 2 hours straight. Whatever you encounter, and I'm looking at all of these exciting dreams and things you want, there is no straight line, and there are going to be bumps and there are going to be challenges. And I want to be excited for you. I also want to be realistic that in the next 12 weeks, 14 weeks, however many weeks, you're going to be in that new place. If you're a senior or a parent, your student's going to be in this new place. And they're going to find a lot of unexpected issues that pop up. Like above me here, these students, CS students, just posted this, getting a 50 on an exam, a 50, and being excited about it because that's passing. And then Emma tried to get into a pre-college fraternity, or it's professional fraternity, and they had record number students at University of Illinois. And she shared the story of how she didn't get in, but she was so excited and proud of herself. And then over here, we have Livy. And Livy, oh my gosh, Livy's so amazing because Livy talked about all of the things that she wished she had known, from how to stay safe going out to getting a job at Starbucks. So many different, oh, it's so exciting. She was so wonderful. And I have so many of these videos. And then John Pryor here, I highly encourage you to check out this as well. This is one of the best, most informative podcasts. This really tells you what's normal, how students perform, because a lot of you, and you've got these wonderful dreams, what is realistic? And when reality and dreams don't align, how do you work through this? How do you work through this? Oh, someone loved my UI/UC videos, and I've got so many more. Oh, that was so fun. So you need to have these big dreams, but you have to understand there are going to be challenges. And the things I'm talking about now are going to help you not just prepare to check the boxes, but also to be really successful. Summer college checklists, these are things that you need to do now. And I'm going to change some of these when we get to the fall. So look at this as a two-parter. Making sure your transcript gets there. AP credits, if you have to transfer those. Housing contracts. Health insurance waivers. People don't recognize that a lot of schools will just automatically charge you for health insurance if you have it. And that could be thousands of dollars. Making sure your financial aid is in place. And I highly encourage you to ask for more money. I've gotten so many students who have checked in with me after asking for more money. One student said they already committed. They sent a message, even though it was uncomfortable. The student sent it, and they got a message back within 24 hours saying they had gotten $8,000 more, $2,000 a year. Financial aid check-in. Someone wants to know the best time for the AP, for getting your AP credits. First you have to complete them. Make sure that that's all completed, and then just have that on your radar in June. Once you get those grades in July. Someone wants to know, how do you ask for more money? The way you ask for more money is you see what the financial aid appeal process is. You can also reach out to the financial aid office or admissions office, and you could just mention that there are more expenses you had, and you just want to know if there's anything they can do to help. Someone says, if a school did not offer any money, can you ask for it? Absolutely. Someone got $8,000 more because I asked, because I heard you say to ask. Right, this is the thing, $8,000. Oh, here's what I'm going to ask you. If any of you you've saved money, please become a member of Best First Year, because I can tell you, I will be there to save you so much throughout the year. That's what I've been asking people. I think it's fair enough, right? Student disability services. If you had an IEP or 504 plan, now is when people start to make those appointments. This is where you learn what is it you need to submit. Maybe you need to take another evaluation or whatever it is. Maybe you don't. Student legal forms. I'll send some links out to those. As a parent, you don't have access to your kids' info once they're 18. Their financial records and health records, payment information. You want to make sure you know when you have to pay for what. And this means you have to check your campus email. You have to check your campus email. And parents don't have access to this. Shipping info, because if you're planning on going somewhere where you have to ship stuff, there's a way to ship stuff where you can order directly from a store and ship it. Additional insurance, renters, and tuition, those are really important pieces as well, which if you keep following me, I'll share that. And then orientation class registration. Orientation class registration is key. This is over the summer. You apply for classes, or you get your classes, and the sooner you go to an orientation, the more likely you are to have more access to classes. And I've got a tip in here that will break that down. Someone asks, how applicable is membership program for an American student headed to Canada? He knows the country well, feels like a lot. It's incredibly valuable. It doesn't matter where country. I get messages from people from India, from the UK, from all over, everywhere, because what I talk about is not just about how to navigate college in a different place, but how to really create your community, how to create your connection. Because the majority of students struggle with this, and most people don't see it coming, but I know it's coming. Legal forms. Someone wants to ask, is that FERPA? I've seen these Mama Bear forms. Yes, it is. And there's another option at College Parents, and I will share more. If you follow me, I'll let you know how to get access to those. So I would hold off. But yes, it's the FERPA forms, the Privacy Act that uh, doesn't allow parents to get access to that information, and then HIPAA as well, because if God forbid there's an emergency, you want to make sure you have access to medical information. So it's a lot. If I talk too fast, if I share so much, let me know. I want to know what you're concerned about. I know what you shared, what you're excited about, but I want to know what you're concerned about. Fraternity rush. Someone wants to know about fraternity rush. The lack of independence, leaving family, dogs. It's so hard. 3,000 miles away, making good decisions, being lonely. You can expect to be lonely at times. Like, that's the thing. It's not, I want to avoid being lonely. It's, if I'm feeling lonely, what is it that I can do so that lonely becomes me doing things that are alone, where I'm alone and I'm independent. Executive function, planning when you're going to do things. The one tip I'll give you for executive function is having a peer mentor, having someone you check in with on a regular basis. That's also another reason why the Best First Year program is great, because it's a checkpoint every 2 weeks. Time management is huge. Making sure you have some sort of planner, making sure you know the resources to help you with that. Staying safe is huge. Lizzie had a great tip from U of I about staying safe, and it's a lot of first-year students just don't they don't anticipate that that these things happen. Finding clubs and extracurriculars, that can be so hard because a lot of times the the extracurriculars are really competitive. So one thing I'll give you, and I'll drop a lot of different gems here, and don't get nervous that I haven't shared the 17 things because I'm already been telling you the 17 things in different ways, is you have to make sure with those organizations you have one place or two places where you are welcome and included simply because you exist, where you're welcome and included simply because you exist. Because so many people go to school and they're thinking of fraternities, sororities, or competitive groups or orgs. And those are great, but most people don't always get in. Most people don't always get in. And when they don't get in, they get thrown. So part of what I'm doing here today is helping you to really think about what you want and to have a plan. Worried my kid will party too much and slip in school. No, that's a real concern. If you have a kid who has been making questionable decisions their senior year in high school, then there's a chance they'll make those questionable decisions in college. Like those are things. Support services. I heard 504 and IEPs don't transfer. I have wonderful resources on that. I just did another conversation with a disability expert, and they don't legally transfer, but there are certain services that you will qualify for, you should qualify for because of the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the requirements on a college campus. And that's why it's really important to make sure you start having those conversations with the representatives in that student disability office. Okay. Mine's very sheltered, afraid he will get freedom and go crazy. Club sports. I love that there's things that you're thinking about because those things are so important. And when there's things that you're concerned about, you can start thinking about it. You can start having a plan. And the plan is going to be who are your people, where are your places, how long will it take to get where you want to go? People, places, patience. We're going to talk a lot about that. And we know just from the research that today's students, you are the most anxious, you are the most depressed, and you have a lot of ADHD. I have ADHD. ADHD has been very. I was recently diagnosed, and it's amazing how different my brain works differently. But when you know these things are coming, and I think a lot of it is tied to when people go to college and when they navigate change, they don't really anticipate how to work through it. No one really teaches you how to do this. And, I've been doing this for over 25 years. Every year, people struggle with the same issues. Like, I know what you're going to struggle with. And if you don't, I know what your friend or roommate's going to struggle with. Loneliness is such a big issue. This is 40% of students reported feeling lonely. It's 65% according to an Active Minds survey. It's so it's so prevalent that the Chronicle of Higher Ed has an entire booklet, an entire guide to support professionals when it comes to loneliness, when it comes to working through that. My definition of loneliness versus alone is when you're alone and there's things that you have to do, like things that you know to do, things you can do to fill up your time. It's time with you. But when you are alone and you don't want to be alone and you're longing for things you can't have, that's lonely. So one thing is really anticipating how can I create a world in school where I can spend time alone and I can anticipate those moments so that I will be okay. Someone wants to know if this is a recording for recording this. Absolutely. We are going to be recording this 100% and you will get a replay. So the 17 things that you need to do the summer before college, and parents, it's really important for you to understand these things as well. Because I think for parents, they have expectations that are often unmet. And for students, I think a lot of times you're just getting through it and not really thinking ahead. So I'm going to go through these. Some of these take a little bit longer. Uh, these are the 17 things. And you're going to have access to all the slides, and you're going to have access to the replay, and you are going to have access to me because I will be in your corner. And if there's anything here you want to dive deeper into, you can trust that I have a coaching session on this. And Q&A is something that I offer as part of my program. Dealing with a long distance relationship, what are the appropriate boundaries? So we're both enjoying everything on our own campuses, but still stay close. Is that possible? Thank you for that question. It is absolutely possible. And one of the tips here is break up, don't break up. And I'll just tell you what it is. It's if you can both commit to living a life independent of each other, where you have these experiences, where you do things that excite you and interest you, and you report back, and you don't restrict each other, and you find times to communicate, and you make sure you stay on campus, and you have a life that is interesting and fills you up, and you can actually be happy while you're apart. It's not that you're betraying a relationship. If you can be happy and independent and make friends and have this incredible life independent of each other, you have a better chance of staying together. And that's how you do it. And I've got another suggestion for you at that. But people oftentimes are like, break up. And I'm like, why? Why? If you have a good relationship, a healthy relationship, then it's nice to have someone in your corner. All right. So let's get cooking on this. Number one is you have to want something. You really have to want something. When I do events, because I do a lot of events at schools and I'll do parent events and I'll talk to students and say, what do you want? And it's not just I want to go to college and better myself. It's like, what do you want? What do you want to experience? I'm going to help you to really start thinking about this. But if you close your eyes and think, what do I want? And for parents who are here, what do you want? Not for your kid, but what do you want for you? Because this is such an exciting time for you. What is it that you want? You're the creator of the joy. You are the maker of your dreams. You are deserving and worthy. A lot of you go to places, go to schools. In the chat, how many of you, let me know just with the number, how many years have you attended or how many years have you lived in the same community? Just how many years? Because I know so many of you have lived in the same place most of your life. 7, 18, 16, 46. I like 40. I've lived in my community for most of my life. 21, 20, all my life. A lot of you, a lot of your life. And when you're in a new place surrounded by new people, having new experiences and who don't know you, it can be really hard to know who you are when you're used to all these people reminding you of who you are. Some people love that because it's like a fresh new start. But then there's other people who lose sight of who they are because you haven't really been challenged. So the key is to forget about being wanted and really focus on what do you want. This whole idea of getting into a school, and if there's any juniors, sophomores, freshmen, listen, wherever you go, you're going to be great. Like don't get so worried about it. And for those of you who have worked so hard to get into schools, you're the creator of your joy. What do you want? What do you want to experience? Think friends, relationships, where to spend your time, what looks interesting, finances, jobs. What did you love to do? Would you, here's the thing, I'm gonna really throw you off. Maybe you're like, I don't even know if I want to go to college this year. If you're thinking that, then maybe you need to wait. And for parents who are like, no, Harlan, I want them to leave. It's like, listen, who says that these rules are that when you're 18, you have to just leave? You have to start college. Why can't you do something else? Trade schools, take a break, go on a trip, uh, volunteer, have a gap year, make some money. What do you want? What do you want? And the attitude, the framework is I never lose, I either win or I learn. And when you have this framework, this mindset, it changes everything because you can look at this first year, you can look at this first semester as really this big experiment. People get in trouble because they get very fixed. They get very fixed in their expectations. And when reality and expectations don't align, a lot of students get upset. And when they get upset, they panic. You got to expect the unexpected. This is from last year. UI offers $2,000 to students to cancel housing contracts due to large incoming class. So this school was asking students to cancel. And then not only did they have to do that, some resident advisors were living with students because there was a shortage. This happens at Purdue. This happens at lots of schools. Instead of being in a double, it's a triple. Instead of a triple, it's a quad. Expect the unexpected. You got to be flexible. I love this message. I just found out that my freshman daughter's boyfriend has been going to her college several times a week to spend the night in her dorm room. I'm beyond mad. We paid an extra $2,000 for her to have a single room, not so she can play house with her boyfriend. Advice, please. I was lucky enough to visit with Lisa D'Amour in the podcast. We talked about this, and it's a really interesting question because you have the total independence to do whatever you want. And for a parent, what would the parent be upset about? And for the student, if you're doing these things, Are you able to take care of yourself? Are you in a state where you have resources? How are you going to take care of your health and well-being? You're in charge. So there's so many different layers. And for the parent, being a gotcha back parent as opposed to a gotcha parent. Because a parent who's always trying to catch a kid is a parent who probably won't hear about the things that are really happening. So many questions, so many questions that people ask me while you're reading this. Someone shared, I always wonder what the stats are on dropouts that are crowded rooms, forced triples. You know, I have to tell you, I haven't seen numbers on that, but I would be surprised if it wasn't any higher. I don't think the living situation is really, it's important, but it's not the most important piece. It's if you're in a triple, well, then you have more reasons to leave your room. If you're in a triple, you have more reasons to be on campus. If you're living at home, it's the same thing. You don't want to be at home. You stay on campus. So having those people, having people really helps. This a student struggling with friends, students struggling finding connection. Expecting the unexpected and navigating change is what I do. I've written all these books about working through the unexpected, navigating change. My book, The Naked Roommate, is at the New York Times bestseller list. Um, by the way, I never felt smart enough, good enough, or worthy of having a book on the New York Times bestseller list because I struggle reading books. I listen to books, and that was a source of shame. It used to be. It's not anymore. I've written an advice column. I'm actually starting to publish my advice column on Substack, which could be really, it's going to be really fun. But I wrote that for like 20 years, helping people deal with the unexpected. These videos I do, they're all about helping people to get through the unexpected situations. So check those out. There's a purpose. It's expecting the unexpected. And then I'm a dad, and I've got three kids. My oldest Eli is a freshman in college, just came home, and then Harrison is very involved with music. And if any of you know DCI, he's doing DCI again this summer, which is so cool. And then Asher loves roller coasters. We're gonna be at CoasterCon. And then my wife is a speech language pathologist, and she really helps people to navigate change as well. Now, when I went to college, I'm gonna be really brief with this because it's my story. If you've heard it, it's always a little bit different every time. See, no one told me what to expect. I went to a big school. I wanted to be close to my high school girlfriend because I never knew how I got one, truly. And I didn't want to know people because I grew up in the same community most of my life. I met my roommate, and he wasn't someone who wanted to be my friend. He loved getting high. And I tried to get into a fraternity. I didn't get in. And my roommate moved out, and I got rejected by all the fraternities. And the only thing I had going for me was my girlfriend at the time, Alexis. And if you notice, my wife, it's not Alexis. Our long distance relationship didn't work. And I know why it didn't work. And that's why I can really help you to make it work. I was struggling. And the only thing I had going on in my life at the University of Wisconsin-Madison was my girlfriend. She was a senior in high school. I was a freshman in college. And her father compared our relationship to a dying puppy, urging her to end the relationship and shoot the puppy. So Alexis dumped me. And here I was in this beautiful campus. This is what it looked like when I moved in. And this is what it looked like when I walked to class. I would call that a bait and switch. This is what it was like when I moved in. And this is what it was like when I went to classes. And it was hard. And I got really depressed. And I felt like a failure. And I struggled. No one told me that the first semester, the first couple quarters, they really are like a throwaway. And I know I want you all to be excited and for parents to be excited, but I want you to understand that those first few months are so much about just figuring out where you want to spend your time, working through temporary friendships. And join me again in August because I'm going to share 17 more things, or some of it will be similar, but I'm just thinking of like temporary friends. Like friends you meet the first couple months are temporary friends until you find permanent friends. I ended up transferring to Indiana University. The problem wasn't the school, it was me. I had friends at IU. My brothers went to IU. There was a fraternity where I was a legacy. They had no choice to accept me. And I found my people and I found my places, and I was able to be patient. And this is the key. It's people, places, and patience. It's people, places, and patience. I'm amazed at so many students who pick schools because they think it's the best school or the most prestigious school. But if we were talking, and if you hang out with me over the summer as part of Best First Year, and you could check in whenever you want. You don't have to do it every 2 weeks. It's whenever. But it's really about what is it that you want, and what are the things you want to do? Where are the places you're going to sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work? How are you going to find people? Where are you going to find them? And if you don't find the right people right away, how can you be patient? There are answers. A lot of what happens, we take personally. My roommate, my first year, well, I was upset because he moved out and I didn't know what I did. Well, I got this message this August. Subject, Sins of the Father. Hi, Harlan. This is your old shrub smoking first roommate from the University of Wisconsin. My first roommate who moved out, he reached out to me and he was on my podcast. This is Scott. And Scott and I, we talk. We talked the other day. I really like Scott. He's my college roommate. We weren't friends. I think we might be friends now. We're like friends. The story is that his daughter was having some struggles in college, and his wife found my books and my videos, and she started reading them. And then Scott, like a few weeks later, he's like, "Hey, let me look at the book." And he looked at the book, and then he saw about a roommate. And he's like, "Wait, Harlan, wait." And then he's like, "Oh my gosh." He's like, "I'm the roommate. I'm the roommate of Scott." He also shared with me his brother was diagnosed with schizophrenia when he was in high school. And when he was in college, he was really trying to escape a very difficult home. And he really wanted to chill. And like he wanted to chill out and he got high and I was like, "Oh, I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend." We can talk more about roommates and friendship. But my expectations were different than his. Here's the thing. There are so many, there's so many parts of your life that you are going to explore. And that's called transition. Search, selection, transition. Transition is the most important part. Transition is where you make friends. It's social. It's emotional, dealing with all the changes. It's physical, where you live, taking care of your mind and body. It's financial. And I really want to make sure you set yourself up for success. And it's academic. And academic's the last part. It's SEPFA. That's the acronym, SEPFA. So when you're looking at what's next, and as a parent looking at these changes, it's these 5 areas. It's these 5 areas. And if you were with me when I did happy, healthy, almost stress-free college planning, it's these 5 areas that really guide your path. So when you think about what is it that I want? What makes me uncomfortable? Social, emotional, physical, financial, academic. Social, emotional, physical, financial, academic. So which of these is the most important to you? Which of these do you think is the most important to your student? Let me know in the chat. I'm always curious to know. Social, emotional, physical, financial, or academic. And it's really important because here's one of the challenges. Sometimes for parents, it's 2 other factors. And sometimes for students, it's something else, 2 others. So if you're a student and it's social and emotional, and you're a parent and it's financial and academic, well, there's a real disconnect. So I think it's really important for families to be able to talk about this. And if you need a framework, this is such an easy way to do it. And when it comes to social and emotional, physical, financial, there could be some overlap, but it's really important to see academic and social, emotional and financial. I like the twists here. I like when people pick 2. Academic for my student and physical and financial for me. Ooh, that's interesting. So if it's 2 for you and it's not for your student, then the question becomes, is this something you're concerned about? Like the physical part, maybe it's like the health and well-being and safety. And it's a question of like, are you concerned about safety at all? And if the student's like, no, like, okay, well, you can blame everything on me. A lot of new students don't see that. Harlan was mentioning that. And I have Livy who shared in that long, Livy was a 13-minute video, talks about going out and how people do put things in people's drinks. And there's a lot of things that happen. Financial for student, parents not helping. So for the student who's doing this on your own, really interesting. Financial for me, emotional for my daughter. There are lots of mixes here. And I think for each person, it's really important to think, what do you want? What do you want and what's most important to you? It's getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, because when you can acknowledge what you want and you can expect the unexpected, and then give yourself room to deal with the uncomfortable. The uncomfortable doesn't have to be such a surprise. I like to live by the 90-10 rule, this idea that life's 90% amazing, 10% a bunch of BS. And the secret is when the 10% is a bunch of BS, you can't fight it, because when you fight the 10%, then it takes up 100% of your time. Do you get that? So when you're looking at what's next, it's like, okay, 10%. If I live 100 years, that's 10% BS. Well, I could do that. I could do that. The BS tends to be front loaded, connected to change. There's so much uncertainty during this time of change. Some schools have opted to eliminate grades because how are you really supposed to be your best in the classroom when you're dealing with social, emotional, physical, financial, academics? If you think about it, it's all this changes over the course of a couple weeks. I mean, it's really for, the first year, but it's all condensed without your support system. And that's really hard. So I like to rename this first year the Getting Comfortable year. Because when you rename it the Getting Comfortable year, you shift your expectations. So all of you who are stressed, if you're stressed out there, you can let me know in the chat, or if you're a parent who's worried. This first year is an experiment. I mean, I think every year should be an experiment, because when it's an experiment, it's really about living the experience. It's about embracing not the outcome, but any data, anything. And if it's not what you want, and here's the thing, there is a law of the universe. It's called the law of rejection. And the law of rejection says not everyone and everything is always going to respond the way you want. And yes, there are things you really need, and then there are things you want. So you have to make sure that if you don't get the things you want, instead of getting so angry or blaming other people or blaming yourself, embrace this law of nature. I also refer to it as the universal rejection truth. Like gravity, there's no escaping this irrefutable law. Like the winter in Chicago, fighting it will leave you cold and miserable. Cold and miserable. You have to accept this. Well, you don't have to do anything. But when you accept this law of nature, it really changes the game, because you can be the most qualified, the best, do everything right, and you'll still face rejection. When I was at the University of Wisconsin and someone didn't give me the response I wanted, I didn't like them, or I didn't like myself. But the beauty of understanding this law of rejection is you could appreciate any change can be uncomfortable. And at the root of uncomfortable is this law of rejection. If you want more of this, I have, as part of Best First Year, I spent the first 5 sessions talking about how to approach risk taking. It's foundational. The recordings are fantastic, because what they do is help you to reframe. They help you to reframe so that you can train for the sport of taking risks. So when you fall, you can get up, and when you don't get the outcome you desire, you know that you're going to be okay. And for a lot of you who are used to being exceptional or getting grades that are exceptional, which doesn't really help you, because when you get to this next place, people struggle. They don't always get the outcome they want. There's growth mindset, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard about. The law of rejection is so key, because in order to take risk after risk and have a growth mindset, meaning you haven't gotten the outcome you want yet, you need to embrace that you're not always going to get what you want, because sometimes it's not your fault or other people's fault. It's just this law of nature. But when you fight the discomfort, you create so much darkness. You blame other people, you blame yourself. When I was at Wisconsin, second semester was better for me, because I stopped blaming people. And when people weren't interested in giving me what I wanted, it didn't matter, because I was leaving. No one was required to give me what I wanted anymore, because I was responsible. And I hope you all can start that way, appreciating that when you can embrace discomfort, you can look inward, look outward, and move forward with confidence and clarity. For some of you, this is going to hit right away. For some of you, you need some time. You need to have some experiences to throw you a little bit. Look for 3 places. Now, I included this picture of, it's Jacob and Caleb, I believe, and this is at the University of Miami. And Jacob was part of the debate club. And I said, oh, you must have had to try out for that. And he goes, no, we just were able to, anyone could be part of debate. Anyone could sign up for debate. You just can, I couldn't believe that. And then there were some intramurals that Caleb was doing. and they found their places. They found their places. So when I talk about places, here's what I'm hoping you'll think about. Places are where you sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. Sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. And one of the Gallup Purdue Big Six experiences that lead to life fulfillment and success is getting involved in extracurriculars, having that be part of your life. Now, a lot of you will not get in somewhere and you're going to get really upset. So that's why I want to help you to understand. How can you plan? How can you start anticipating over the summer? How could you start looking at social media? Oh, I've got a coaching session on how to look through social media. Because when you're looking at Instagram, and let's say you're going to the Marine Mammal Rescue Group, which is another student, I met some other students who became friends there. When you see someone post something and you see that someone hearts, likes something, if it's a new post and it's a club or organization, and usually the first like 5 or 10, 20 people, they're usually associated with that group or org. So you start to think, oh, you start to see who are these people, right? Who are these people? Oh, I just disappeared. Hold on. I'm here. Don't worry. I'm back. So places where you sweat, play, pray, live, learn, lead, love, and work. And when you're going for an orientation, when you're visiting campus, and parents, this idea of where are the places that your student can get help, can find connection. If you're somebody who's been doing something your entire life in high school and you're not doing it in college, I really want you to try to do that thing. Don't try to reinvent yourself. Put yourself in places where you can do that thing. Someone said D1 athlete here too. Concerned about how that integrates. Concerned the world is narrow. Okay, when you are an athlete, and I do events for athletes, I'll do trainings for athletes. I will explain to them how amazing it is that they're there and they're an athlete, but they need to find something else outside of their sport. It could be spiritual, it could be volunteering. A lot of times, the athletics will also have other types of things that people are doing that you can do more of. And it's important, and also not living with a roommate who's also an athlete, maybe, or a different sport, because that person will be in different places and have different experiences. It's really important if you're an athlete to have a place where you can just be with you, and you got to plan for that. So what is it that you do outside of your sport, and how can you do that? And you don't have to do it with anyone else. The joy is you do it by yourself and you meet more people. You can talk to other athletes, seniors, juniors who have been there and done it. It's another big thing is if you have questions, the answers are people, right? People. The people who are kind and caring, the people who are you in the future, the people who are accessible, the people who volunteer, the people who you can ask, the people who you'll see while doing different types of activities. And then you look around and you start finding those places. You talk to students. One of my favorite questions to ask someone who is on campus is, where did you find your closest friends? How did you find your closest friends? How did you do that? It's really important. Someone says, as a former D1 athlete, it's hard. I say have a roommate who's an athlete who understands, um, and get your kid an ice pack or a meal when they need it. So for athletes, I really encourage them to live with someone who is not in the same sport. An athlete is great. Sleep schedules are key. So I think that's really important. So if you are living with someone who has more of a structured life. Why three places? Always somewhere to go, always something to do. You always have options. Someone asked me any thoughts on freshman summer programs versus planned roommate options. I heard summer start programs are great to help students adjust. I would say 110% the summer start programs. I would do anything where you're part of a cohort over the summer. I would do anything where you're part of a group where you get to meet other people, living and learning communities, summer programs, any of those experiences, they fill up. So you got to look, they fill up. I would do those. And again, going to those orientations, going to the overnight programs. If cost is an issue, let the school know. A lot of times they'll have emergency funds to help support students. Number 6 is you want to look for your 5 people. See, a lot of this is review. People who volunteer, people who enlist, people who are paid to help. These are important. I'll get to your financial question. Someone is really eager for me to talk about the financial piece. And I'll talk about that. But these are some of the people. If you are someone who needs money, you should surround yourself with people who have found money. I would talk to the seniors. I would go on Reddit. I would try to find friends of friends. I would reach out to alumni and I'd ask them how they found money. Because if they're graduating, then someone else can get that money. That's important. If you're someone who is from this upper middle class student, no one's helping financially. In that situation, so if you're a student who isn't getting any help, I would not take out huge loans. I would explore, if you're already committed to a school, you still have room. I would find a community college that is associated with a school. I know here in the Chicago area where I'm based, Parkland. Parkland is a community college that has a program where you go for 2 years, then you go to the school, you go to the university. So if you don't have the money, I would do that. And I would surround yourself with people who are doing interesting things, because a lot of times you could still participate in those different activities that are part of the university. Sometimes you even live on the campus. And I would look for a job. I would look for a job that is that offers some tuition reimbursement. Like Chipotle, if you work a certain number of hours, you can get up to $5,200 towards your college, towards your college. And then I would also try to be an RA. I'd try to live on campus because that will take care of room and board. And I would apply to every scholarship. And I would get to know the teachers. I'd get to know professors, but I'd work at the financial aid office, or get a job there, or to volunteer, or get to know the people there. And I would surround myself with adults who can get to know me and who could be in my corner. Someone wants to know, is it better for a student or parent to ask a school for money? I don't like absolutes like always. A student who asks for money, man, that just says something. A student who could advocate, a student who puts themselves out there, absolutely. I would say the student, but if the other, if the student can't do it, a parent doing it together. So I mentioned how to find the best campus jobs and how to make it fit into your schedule. This is where talk to the people on campus. You live in a connected world. A lot of you are so afraid to reach out to people because you're afraid that they're going to respond in a negative way. The law of rejection says a lot of people are going to respond the way you want and some won't. So reach out to them. Reach out to them through clubs, activities, organizations. Look to see what types of jobs people have. Walk around campus if you can and ask people how they got those jobs. There's usually a job board. You can also, you ask, right? Okay. Someone said we talked to an RA at Admitted Student Day, and it sounds like an amazing for discounts. Yeah, being an RA is a great job. It's a great job. It's a great job because you get leadership opportunities. There's training. You get wonderful perks. It's a job, but it's great. Patience is huge. It's not 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, a good year. You should watch that University of Virginia video where I'm talking to that student. What is her name? She's so fantastic. But she said it took her a good year and a half to really find her way. So understanding that is key, because if expectations are here and reality's here, and there's this gap, you're going to get so frustrated and upset, and you're going to panic. But when you recognize this first year, this change, it's a big experiment. It's hard. Oh, here's some great. Here, I'm going to go over me, so I'll actually be my face. So I think this was is this Damien? He was also at U of I. Man, University of Illinois. I had the best visit. Before you register for classes, here are some things you should think about. Because when you go for these orientations, they register you. And a lot of times there's assessments. Don't try to be the best on your assessment. Just do your assessment. I was talking to someone at an engineering college, and they're like, students want to be in the hardest classes, and they end up falling on their butts because we teach differently. And I tell them, take the exam of the previous level to see where you are. You'll get there. There's no race. Early orientations often give people more options. Avoid taking early classes that first term. Some people are like, oh, I love my 8 a.m.s. And if you're an athlete, you'll need to do those things. You'll need to take those early classes. But time can be very different in college. So I would avoid that. I would check out Reddit, ask students. Actually, Damien's like, go to Reddit, go to Rate Your Professor. Because I was like, if you're a first year student and you're going these orientation sessions, how do you even know who a good teacher is? And plus, you're probably not even thinking of teachers because you're like, oh, I need a roommate or I want a friend. Avoid taking the hardest classes. I'm telling you, you don't need to impress anyone. You just need to figure out how to manage your time, how to deal with the academic rigor. You'll have your weed out classes. And this is a senior. Ask a senior, ask a junior. You need to record all of your deadlines in a family planner. Now, parents, this is where it's like if you have a parent who's involved, great. They might want to help you, but like you need to be able to see on the calendar when these things are. And for students, if your parents don't have access to your email because they don't, you can get majorly screwed, effed over. I get messages. So my language, I would really swear, but listen, students miss out on so many opportunities, on scholarships, on deadlines, uh, on living situations, on job opportunities, on summer experiences, on deadlines, because they don't check their campus email. So it automatically have to be something you do every day, multiple times a day. And then you want to look at these different deadlines here. With meal plans, usually you can always bump up as opposed to bumping down. And you want to make sure that you honors programs. Oh, here's another thing. That's what I want to mention. I don't know if I included it coming up. Because of a lot of the changes in the federal government, uh, DEI programs have been impacted greatly. So if you're a student who is looking for community, like for example, the University of Iowa, they got rid of living and learning communities for it was the Black student living and learning community, the Latinx living and learning community, the LGBTQ plus living and learning community, and then many different cultural organizations have been eliminated. Now, the people who are part of those organizations, the advisors, they're there. The students, they're there. There's going to be new groups, but you just need to let people know what it is you want and need, and that's going to help you. Okay. Uh, Kind of a weird place for me to put that, but I just wanted to make sure. And any of you, I want you to know I am in your corner. I'm an ally. I can connect you with resources. I will do everything I can to support. I'll support all of you, everybody. All I want to do is help you to have the best experience, to find the love, to find the people who can be there for you. Okay, this deadlines and email piece here. This is tip 1185. You got to read the comments on this. Look, this one is 18,000 likes. 18,000 likes because so many people screwed up. Someone said, what do I mean about bump up a meal plan? I mean, you don't have to get the meal plan that gives you the most meals. You can get a meal plan that gives you a lower level and decide what you need as you go. Is an honors program too rigorous for athletes their first year? Sounds like a fantastic program at a school with great opportunities, but I'm worried it may be too much for incoming freshman athlete. I wouldn't worry about it. I would do it. And if it's too hard, then it's too hard. A lot of athletes will have there'll be structured study sessions. There'll be people who can help them, support them. I would also have that student ask a junior or senior who is in those programs, is it too hard? Maybe sometimes you don't even have to take, sometimes the classes, here's the thing, a lot of students who come from schools that are, exceptional in terms of academics, they get to college and that first year is review for some stuff. You know, it all depends what's honors. And sometimes it's just doing extra work when it's honors. All right. I'm gonna keep going. I'll probably go like maybe an extra 15 minutes. I have all the winners, and I'll answer questions too. So stick around. I have all the winners. If anybody has to leave, if you get best first year during the session, if you get it tonight, I will give you a book. I will send you a book as a bonus because I want to incentivize you because it's just about the coolest thing I do and the most helpful thing I do. Someone asked about one-on-one coaching. I do one-on-one coaching. I don't have as much bandwidth. But over the summer, there could be an opportunity to work on a transition plan and help you one on one. And I also do parents. I coach parents because there's so much that's going to happen. Parents' best first years for you, even more, especially over the summer. Follow, like, post. I mentioned before, when you follow social media, posts, when you follow social media posts and you see who liked posts and who's commenting on posts, to me, that's the hack. Because those are the students who are living those experiences who you can talk to. And those students tend to be pretty open and they tend to be pretty friendly. This is the debate team from Miami. Oh, there it is. This is the Marine Mammal Rescue from the University of Miami. And I met a couple students who, who became friends at the Mammal Rescue. Contact Disability Services. So if you're a student who had an IEP, had a 504 plan, if you are dealing with a health issue, medical issue, if there's a mobility issue, if there is something that's temporary, you can also get assistance from your disability office. People don't recognize that. So you want to make sure you know where this office is. You want to reach out to them now. And you want to make an appointment. You want to learn about the requirements. This book by Elizabeth Hamlet is fantastic. I podcast with her. Elizabeth is an expert. She's my go-to person. Fantastic. Just to give you an idea, with the disability services, and for students, any of you who have had accommodations, get them. Because if you need them, you'll have them. But when you need them, it can take a long time to get them. Right? So just do it. Like, just do it, okay? And your expectations of what you services that you received in high school, you have to make sure that you understand what your expectations are in college. And another podcast with Kelly Challen, we talked about that yesterday. That podcast will be coming out soon. Okay. Complete the form, request documentation. The staff will review the submitted information, and then you'll attend a meeting. It can vary from campus to campus, but start doing that now. Okay. This whole roommate thing. Just chill the F out with the roommate. Okay? Just chill out. Roommates are people you share space with to help with the cost of college. And for parents and for students who are so worried about roommates, you can do everything you can to have a great roommate and it might not work out. And you can just have a random roommate and it will work out. Three most important things when they go to sleep and get up, especially for athletes. Number two, what's the definition of cleanliness? Can everybody agree on that definition? Because clean to one person can be different to another. Then the last rule is, the last thing is, can someone talk about things that make them uncomfortable? Right? That's it. Because if you can't talk about things that make you uncomfortable, or you're with someone who is a drama lightning rod and has a wake of disaster behind them, I would stay away. Living with a friend is brutal because some people are better roommates. Some people are better friends than roommates. Roommates tend to take advantage of each other. If you're living with a friend, I'd say let's have an out plan, an escape plan. If we are better friends than roommates, let's decide we'll just go our own way. Friendship is a bonus. And let me just, in 2 seconds, clarify this. When you require someone to be a friend, they have to invite you to do things, share meals, listen to you, be respectful, spend time with you, introduce you to the people they meet. And if someone doesn't do that, then you start to get upset. And that's a lot to require of someone who you don't really know. If you can follow these three rules, bam, you're going to be set up. And if you have any problems, that's why I have the Q&A every 2 weeks. You ask me questions. You come as parents. You bring the questions. So many people. I have so many ways for you to ask questions over the summer with this, and gosh, it's just great because I love being there for you. And when it comes to live Q&A, there's a lot of room to answer your questions. Okay, break up, don't break up. I talked about this. Only stay together if you agree to have a life independent of each other, not to restrict each other's actions, agree to meet other people and form friendships, agree to stay on campus, agree to try your best to be happy while you're apart. Read this book, The 5 Love Languages, because it's going to help you to know how somebody needs to be loved. Because if you're somebody who is a dedicated time, let me take 3 seconds here and move over, please, so I could see everything. Here, I'm gonna go over here. Sorry. Yeah, you're always welcome to ask me to move. This is good. I look like the Teletubby son. So, 5 love languages: touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, dedicated time. If you're somebody who is a dedicated time person and you plan on talking to your significant other and they have a meeting or they need to do something as part of an organization and you're like, and they don't show up, you're gonna be really hurt. And if that person understands that, they could at least explain it and find another time. And if you're somebody who's a gift person and somebody or dedicated time, if you're a gift person and somebody tells you how great you are, that's not going to work for you. You like gifts. My wife's an acts of service person. I'm a words of affirmation. So I tell my wife how amazing she is, how smart she is, how beautiful she is. And she says, take out the garbage because she wants me to do acts of service. That's what helps her to feel good. Read the book. It's great. Ask budget work. Ask if you can get more money. We talked about this. Put together a budget. If you don't know how to put together a budget, talk to someone who's been there before. Talk to a student. This is the thing. Don't don't wait to talk to people. That's the thing. A lot of you are so scared to talk to people. But there are so many people who have already identified as people who can help you, who you can talk to. Investigate jobs that can also pay tuition. I mentioned that. Plan for hidden costs. Talk to juniors and seniors. Know how much your loans will really cost. And I have a as a member of Best First Year. I know I keep talking about it, but there's so many resources I can't give you right here. I have an entire hour called 7 Money Must Do's. You get access to that. 7 Money Must Do's talks about how you can look at the loans you're taking out and be able to ask yourself the question, is it too much? The general rule is if you take out more than you're going to earn your first year of college in total, that's too much. But you also need to understand how much you're going to pay each month. And you also want to make sure you pay the interest if it's a unsubsidized loan because that interest really starts to accrue. You also want to make sure you know how long it's going to take you to graduate. You know the graduation rates you see on the websites, those are 6 years. I don't know if you're planning on paying for 6 years. And then go to all the meetings with free food. All the meetings with free food. You want to go to the student loan calculators. College Ave is a great calculator. Parents, the Parent Plus loans right now are over 9% with I believe it's like a 4% double check upfront cost because they charge like a fee on top. Investigate loans, home equity lines of credit, people exploring those as well. On your financial aid document, someone wants to know how to get a discount for Best First Year. Use code GRAD40, 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 and you get 2 emails, one for a student, one for a parent. And you could drop it whenever you want. You can go to the landing page too. It explains it all. I have to tell you, you must read and reread that financial aid offer. You need to make sure that it's renewable, that the money is renewable that they're offering, meaning every 4 years. Every 4 years. You got it? You want to make sure that every year you get that. You need to make sure. And Andy, you can throw in any of the answers to any of those questions about Best First Year. Andy's on my team, and he's just the most amazing person ever. And he's on this as well. You want to make sure the money is renewable, so every year you're getting that. And then the ones that are one time, you want to understand that. And then you also want to ask if through the department of your major, are there more opportunities for scholarships and grants? Scholarships you don't pay back. Grants you don't pay back. Because I know with my son, he's part of the honors college, and if your GPA increases, you can get more money. If you are part of the honors college, you can apply for different scholarships. There's a portal. Really important. GPA renewal. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. GPA renewal for your scholarships. What's the minimum GPA? What are the minimum credit hours? When you drop a class, if you're not taking enough classes and you go below the minimum amount of credit hours, you could lose some of that money. These are things I talk about throughout the year, but these are things you need to start thinking about when it comes to your financial aid offer. You need to make sure scholarships and grants, great, free money. The loans you got to pay back. The government offers you subsidized loans. Subsidized loans are great because they pay the interest while you're in school. They don't charge you the interest. Unsubsidized are unfortunate because the interest accrues once that's in your account. And then you want to make sure when it comes to work study, sometimes they incorporate that on the sheet. Work study is a job you need to actually do. You need to get a work study job in order to get paid. I'm going to get out of the way. I know sometimes I do this. This is a financial aid appeal video that I put together. It's all still relevant, really helpful. You can find the link on my YouTube page. Andy, we could also, I'll include that on the I'll include on the landing page for this event. Have rules for going out. Freshmen don't believe it's real. And what don't they believe it's real? This is Livy talking about that, there are people you need to avoid. There are situations you need to avoid. You need to walk in a group. You never leave anyone behind. You have these rules. And for a student, the student who's like not worried about safety, I've got the videos that you can use, and then you can use it as a launching pad to talk about it. Is this something real? There's also the Clery Act. The Clery Act makes public any arrests, police activity. So look at the Clery Act. Search the Clery Act, and you'll see statistics for your school. So these rules for going out, everyone who comes together leaves together. The whole idea of hooking up, and parents talk about what's going on. Talk about if your student is sexually active, if they're drinking, what's going to happen? Sober is the only way to do it. It's the only way to have these activities. It's very, very important to have those conversations. When it comes to fentanyl, stay away from pills. I tell every student, stay away from pills. And I think it's really important that a student has naloxone, which is Narcan. Naloxone is a spray that you can use to stop an opioid overdose immediately. Sometimes it can take several sprays, but this is so important. Someone wants to know the link to the college crimes. Search up Clery Act. So if you look up Clery Act, you can get that information. You can also contact the campus police, campus safety, and you can ask them for data. You can ask them. One thing I encourage parents to do is, if you're concerned, because this is a really concerning time in the world, call up the campus police and ask them. You can talk to the chief or whoever it is, and they're very good at sharing information. Someone wants to know, Best for Sure memberships are active a year from the date purchased. So it's for a year. It's a year. So it's a year from the time you get it, and you use it as much as you want. And it carries over through the year. And the thing that's nice about it being a year is, if you just want to drop in for the Q&A, or your student wants to drop in, you always have access. So you have like the closest access to me for a year. And then the coaching, you can drop in and drop out. You can get the naloxone through a lot of health insurance plans will give you that for no cost. There's also a lot of public agencies that will have that. You could also ask the residence hall if they have that on campus. Identify academic support services. This is so important. You do this over the summer. These are things you could do all through the summer. So don't feel like you have to do all this now. Pace yourself. One of these things a week, 2 of these things. But what you're going to recognize is, and when I was talking to Damien, he was saying there are tutors. This was at University of Illinois. He was a aerospace, I believe, aerospace focused engineer. And he was saying that there's tutors. There's all these people. And unlike high school, college students who are in tough classes or just any classes, they use these resources, and you get to know the people. And when you are getting help, you can ask them other questions about classes, about study methods, about how to work there, which would be so cool. So you identify these resources, and in your head, you're like, oh, it's not if I'm going to go, it's when I'm going to go. And you just plan on going. You got it? you plan on going. Because why why would you why would you struggle? And there's so many people who are like, "Oh, I do it myself." And it's like, listen, you try, but in order to manage your time, you need to get great at asking for help. A mental health transition plan is something that I think everyone should have, especially if you've had any challenges in the past. I have a therapist. I love my therapist. It's so important. People are like, oh, I only need a therapist when I have a problem. I see my therapist because it prevents me from going off the rails, helps me be accountable, helps me to reflect, helps me to plan. If you are a student who is a therapist or a parent, if your student is in therapy, see if if they could do remote therapy across state lines. Sometimes they can't. Also, see what services are available through the school and what wait times are. But I would plan on having someone. I would plan on having a therapist. I have a second podcast with Dr. Lisa Demore where we went through the whole mental health transition plan as part of Best First Year, one of the weeks. We talk about a mental health transition plan. So we're going to spell that out. 17 is tell your story as if it's already happened. You want to tell your story. A lot of you get worried, and parents, I get it. I'm a parent, man. This was so hard this year. And parents, knowing what's coming and having a baseline helps you to be calm. So you can tell a story. It's a story that maybe there's going to be struggle, maybe there's going to be challenges, and there will be. But when there are challenges, what's the story you tell? And then for the students, what's the story you tell? Telling your story, you jump into the future. It's December 1st, 2025. I had a great start to college. I reached my goals and I accomplished the following. I got through it by leaning on these people. And I was able to find resources in these places. And it took me this amount of time to get there. That's telling your story. I get super anxious. I struggled with anxiety for a long time. Anxiety is a part of my life. And I'm really good at treating it. I have my journal here, right? I exercise. I have a therapist. Here's my journal. And I tell the story. I tell the story of my day, my week, my month. I'm going to share the winners of our prizes in just a moment. This is from the book The Naked Roommate. Relax, have fun, enjoy every moment. Your job is simple. Be your personal best. Meet lots of people, make new friends, make smart decisions, possibly find a career, possibly find love, and take risk after risk after risk so you can figure out what you love and don't love. And expect that all the risks you take will not always go as planned. Many will, but not all. And when it does go as planned, don't go on the attack. Don't give up. Don't hide. Don't hate. Don't attack. Find your people. Find your places. Be patient. See, it comes up again. People, places, patience. And if you do this, you'll leave not just with a degree. You'll leave having meaningful experiences that are going to help you to really love not just what you're doing, but yourself, and find people who you connect with. And this is going to carry over with you for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. These are just 4 years that are going to be the best and the worst and the most confusing, and they're just years. And you're going through this. So go through it and stop worrying about it being a certain way. Just be and do. And this is the guideline. This is the framework. My book, Win or Learn. And I know I've got so many resources because I know what can help. And it's not a one size fits all. But Win or Learn gives you a framework so you can be forgiving of yourself. These are the 17 things. You pick and choose. Pick and choose. Find more books. I listen to books. I love listening to books. These are great books to help you. And then you can participate in other resources. The reason no one knows about Best First Year is because it's I've been doing it for 7 years, but like there's nothing like it because schools don't do this and colleges don't do it and high schools don't do it. And when you have access to something, and I'm going to share the winners, when you have access to something and a checkpoint that can remind you of what's normal. And for students, here's the thing. If you're part of Best First Year, if your parents become a member, You get the 2 emails. You can log in whenever you want, right? You use your email. They don't even know you're there. You can ask whatever question. And parents, you can ask too, which is great. Getting in is not the hardest part. It's what happens next. So just so you see, this is what it looks like when you're a member. We've got all the coaching lined up for the summer. And what's also cool is you could give this as a gift. Let me get my big head out of the way. I'll go up here. Enter code GRAD40. If you do this during this webinar or whatever you want to call this event, if you do this tonight, I will send you a book too. I will send you a book just for people who are doing this now. I'm not going to extend it. It'll be for people who are here who do this. I'll send you a book. And this is the best discount that we offer. And you go here and it's grad code 40 and you can give it as a gift too, which is great. So if you have a friend, family member, someone you care about, if you're at a school that you think would find this beneficial, let me know. If any of you like what I'm sharing, if any of you have uses for this, let me know, because I'm trying to get this out as much as I can. It's the best thing I do. It's the most powerful thing I do. Okay. Look at this. The winners. 40% off is, it's not 40% off, it's $40 off. All right. Okay. Anyway, 7 copies of The Naked Roommates. Alta, Claudia, James, Martha, Michelle, Nancy, Joanna. If I misspell anyone's name, it's because I was frantically trying to get everybody in before we started this. Yes, $257. No, $40 off. Did I make a typo here? It's not 40%. It's $40 off. 40. Right. Sorry. I know. I got to work on my sale. I got to work on my, okay. Let's go back. These are the winners. Okay. So now, this is exciting. Now, we have the Amazon gift card winners from College Ave, who is the best partner. I am so grateful for College Ave. This is because College Ave has been supporting me so many years doing these because they want you to be successful. All right, you ready? These are the winners. These are the winners of the Amazon gift cards. You all won Amazon gift cards, $100, so you could buy stuff for college. I've got a list of stuff you could buy. I've got a whole list. And we'll send you an email. College Ave will send you an email. Andy will send you an email to get your address for the books. We got your info. Now the best first year, our best first year winner. I'll stick around and answer questions. I know we went a little longer than I usually go, but there's just so much to share. Ellen and Maura. Ellen and Maura, or Mara, you are winners of a 1-year membership for Best First Year. It includes 2 emails. You can pop in whenever you want. You can use the Q&A. You can watch all the recordings, special events. Congratulations. Congratulations. This is how you can follow me. There's the website that we have set up in our chat, and Andy has been sharing that. Follow me. I've got so many things that I'm sharing. I have more content that I could possibly even tell you about, and there's something for everyone. And for parents, year 13, this is the Facebook group, the year 13 Facebook group. Let me get my big head out of the way again. This is for you because parents, there's so much you're going through. So I started this to support you, help you. The group is small. The people are strong, smart, balanced, rational. Oh, it's so good. So you can check that out as well. Search that. And then this is the QR code that you can use for the landing page for all my stuff. And I'm going to answer a couple questions. I really appreciate you all. And if you can let your friends know about this, if you appreciate my videos, send me messages. I do my best. It's so hard for me to get back to everyone. I read the messages. If there's something going on in your life, let me know. I want to be a resource for you. And I'm just so grateful. You could tell. I mean, I love helping. I'm in your corner. This is hard. So many of you don't appreciate and understand what's coming your way, and that's totally okay. But when it happens and when it hits and when something gets uncomfortable, I will be here. Maybe you'll be like, that's when I need to be part of this. I encourage you, though, to really think about the questions I asked and really start focusing on what you want and thinking about people and places and patients and finding the strength and courage to reach out to people. This is your journey. You own it. You own it. All right? Are there any other questions? I feel like we did so much. We answered questions. Oh, just signed up but forgot to enter the discount code. I will, if you signed up and you didn't enter the discount code, we'll credit you the discount, okay? And for anyone else who wants to know, oh, good, I'll answer a few questions. Can you please share about helping students to eat properly, the freshman 15? Yes. So when it comes to eating, it's really important that a student have a plan and make sure they know what's available to them. And every school I've been to, there is, if this is important to the student, there is a dietitian, a chef, someone, a consultant who works with the food services, with the dining halls, and you could ask those questions. And you could even request food if there's something that isn't available to you. So having a plan, deciding what you can eat, when you're going to eat it, what you can keep. Another thing I should have mentioned, there's always, if you stuck around, you get a little more. Having a refrigerator, having something in the room. You know, what can you have in your room so that you could have meals, so that you can make sure that you can eat properly. And also understanding that the freshman 15, sometimes it's people aren't exercising as much, they're not moving in their bodies, they're not as active, they eat late at night. If your kid gains a little weight or you're someone who gains weight, then you'll know because your pants will get tighter and you'll figure it out, right? And I think for parents and students, a lot of it is finding your way and figuring out. You sometimes when you eat not great for a while, it's like, I really want to eat better. So having those options and also talking to other students who eat in a similar way. Got it? Um, so the avoiding, and we could talk more. It's just I have so many issues with weight and body image. It's been a big part of my life, and my weight has fluctuated, and my weight is connected. My weight's actually connected to my ADHD, which is really interesting because I started taking medication in this past 6 months, and the medication has really helped me to regulate myself because eating has often been about activation and distraction, and the medicine has really helped me to be much less impulsive in my eating and also make better choices. An international student living in the country, I'm not a citizen. What are my options to earn money as I can't get a job? Well, I think there's a few things you could do. First, talk to the school and ask them what the options are in the school. The other thing is, what types of things can you do online? Could you do even babysitting? Some things where your people are paying you, uh, as opposed to you having to be paid in a way where it's a taxable situation. And yes, you should report your babysitting income, but there's ways to do that as well. So I would talk to other students, international students, and I would see how they make money, how they do that. Sometimes it can be something virtual. Um, I just signed up using my info, the parent. How do I make it available to my kid? Did I do it wrong? Here's the thing. Oh, I should have told you. Anybody who signs up, Andy's going to send you a message. We manually create the second email. We manually create the second email. So you're going to get a message that says, thank you so much. We are going to set up the second user for you. So a parent to sign up with your message, great. With your email, everyone should use their own email because we want you to get the messages because I send reminders and you need to have that email that's yours. So we will do that. Andy will set that up, and we'll also make sure I get you a book. Thanks so much. A lot of people have enrolled. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. Random question. Fraternity rush seems a lot different than when I was in school. Now it seems at some schools, oopsie daisy. Um, Now it seems that some, oopsie, hold on, there's so many things coming in. Dang, dang, dang. Where is it? It's the fraternity rush one. I'm trying to get to that. It jumped. Now it seems like some schools rushes over the summer, then fall, which is hard. Have you seen this? Yeah, for out-of-state students, it's hard. So yeah, it can be difficult. And when rush starts is important because that will impact move-in dates. So if it's starting, typically the residence halls open at a certain date where you can move in and you can participate in that rush. So it's something that's structured into the school structure. You just need to know because if you show up and it's like, whoa, rush already happened, that's something that you have to anticipate. And that's the thing over the summer, there's things you need to do, anticipate. For our first generation students, oh, I wish I shared this earlier. Any first generation group, there's a lot of first gen offices, and they're really supportive when it comes to helping students to know the questions they should address before they get there, right? It's the before they get there thing, and that's what reminded me of Rush. Um, Please address the rigors of service academies. Any advice for parents or service academics? Please address the rigors of service of. If you just, I think I want to make sure I answer your question, but when it comes to some of the academics, if we're talking about STEM, if we're talking about some of these classes that are incredibly difficult, students need to really start off leaning on other people, seeing how other people study, being collaborative, and being vulnerable. The idea of impressing people is over. That student from U of I, Siri, did such a nice job saying, I'm surrounded by all these people who are so smart and they're going to do all these incredible things. So I don't need to be the smartest person because I get to learn from all these people and we get to lean on each other. And that's the idea. So these tough classes, a lot of students get embarrassed because they have that imposter syndrome. Oh, what's wrong with me? It's like, there's nothing wrong with you. These classes are horribly difficult. They're so hard. And that is part of this experience. You have to get help. Like, who are your people? Where are your places? What are your thoughts on students with ADHD having their own room, if it's an option? Well, it is very hard for me to generalize. I think it's important for a student with ADHD to have some sort of accountability partner outside of their room. And that's one of the things that coaching is great, because if there's an executive function coach, that student has someone they can talk to. If there is a peer mentor, peer advisor, if there is someone who they're required to see, because it's like you want to make sure you have things you have to do so that you're activated and you are accountable. I think living alone, depending on the situation, the student who has ADHD there may be other sensory issues that make living with someone difficult. So I don't like to generalize, but I really like to make sure that if you're someone who has a tendency to put things off, to not want to deal with uncomfortable situations, you want to make sure that you're set up so that you can't hide, right? That's having the therapist. If you're in a single, what are the things that you're going to do so to make sure you're active? And it's a healthy conversation that a student and a parent can have to discuss that. Not sure if I misheard or misunderstood you. Did you suggest that students share access to their campus email since they miss deadlines often? No. No, I did not suggest that at all. No. What a parent could do and a student can do is have a calendar, like a family calendar that you share. Like in my family, we have a calendar, and you put those dates, deadlines on that calendar. The student could put those dates and deadlines, because then it's just like a reminder of, hey, I saw this deadline. But 100% no, having a student share that email with the parent. I just, unless there's a real issue, that's when I really discourage. Okay, I think we've gotten to a good place. I think we've answered a lot of questions. This is what I love to do. All right, for all of you who have stuck this out, who are here at the end of this program, I want to thank you for being here. I would love to continue the conversation. I also should have mentioned, if money is an issue, if like your money's really tight and you want to participate in the best first year program, then we'll figure it out. Let me know, because I never want that to stand in the way of you having access to resources that are going to help you and support you, because I want you all to be successful, and I want you to just have the best experience, parents, students, aunts, uncles, grandparents, caregivers, whoever you are. So if any of you have questions, let me know. I am so happy to be here. Congratulations on where you are and what you've done and all you've accomplished. Amazing. And what's going to happen next is going to be interesting. It's going to be great. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be hard. It's going to be new. It's going to be unexpected, but it's going to be an adventure. And I will be here with you to help you along the way. All right. Whoops. Thanks, everybody. Grateful to be here. We will continue this. We will continue this. To be continued. I'm in your corner. All right. And thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. Anybody else who gets this tonight, we will send you a book. Thanks for showing up, and we'll get you the prizes too. All right. Thanks, everybody.